we've done a walkthrough of the space. Felt a few things, to say the least. And, that one corridor right in there where the bedrooms start really is the place that felt the most hectic.
Yes.
And the most boisterous, and where some of the activity may have gotten out of control and not be necessarily in line with a lot of the positive energy that's rolling through the space. You've got a lot of good spirits here, a lot of love here, a lot of light here. But that particular entrance and going into those rooms, it felt like things were not as polite all the time anyway. While I think now it is more calm, I really do feel that energy of just like residual trauma and that kind of energy going through the space, and also a lot of just loudness. And you did mention in the bedroom that you actually had heard footsteps in the hallway, which might have been a residual haunt. But the home seems like it's had layers of busyness and activity over time. It's like paint layers of all these things that have been happening, different spirits over time. Some of them do belong to you and are loved ones and are related. Some of them just are visiting because they like you. And I did feel the animal spirit, getting all cozy and in bed, and I think that they still do that. So with everything that I felt, before we break out the meters and try to check some of those hot spots, that we think some activity is common, what can you validate from the walkthrough that made sense to you guys, that resonated, and what can you add to it as far as personal experiences? Anything you want to say or add?
Well, as far as for me, the one thing that, like we just talked about, I heard the footsteps down the hall, except that the hall seemed to be like 10 times longer than it is. And then he stopped, like when he got to the edge of the bedroom there. Excuse me.
Oh, dry.
I have the same thing.
Cigarette smoke?
Oh, my wife Susan had noticed is cigarette smoke.
In our bedroom.
In our bedroom especially.
Wow.
Even with the CPAP machine on sometimes. It's like I'm just going to bed and it's on and about ready to fall asleep, and all at once it's just like someone's right next to me smoking a cigarette.
That's,
a cigar or something
that
like that.
sounds, definitely either like a spirit that's active, that's something that they really liked and that they're still doing, or a residual memory of somebody who was on the land before or lived in the house before.
Okay.
So that and it doesn't necessarily mean somebody that had to have died here, but it can be, somebody who is affiliated in some way, shape, or form, and they're just replaying their habits.
Okay.
And
But
so
yeah,
if
smelled the cigarette smoke, when I smelled a whiff of it, and I went, where did that come from? I went, that is weird. I smelled it.
that several
And
times.
I go, these guys don't smoke.
I know.
So if it bothers you and you don't like it and you smell it, like, all right, sir, if you could not smoke in my room, that'd be great, thank you. Just ask them to back off.
Back off.
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
you can absolutely do it. Did you have something to add?
I did. I had a question for Al about that.
Okay.
So, do you, is it that does it smell like modern cigarettes, like the nastier cigarette smell, or does it smell like pure tobacco?
It smells like old stogie.
Exactly.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes.
I was wondering it might be Native American, but that's not. Yeah, that's interesting.
But it's funny because again, with the CPAP machines that we both of us use, it's got filters on it, and I smell it right through that. Like there's nothing
That's
there.
amazing.
Wow.
Yeah, that's cool.
And it comes and goes. I'll smell it for a couple minutes and then it disappears.
It's as if he's walking through,
Yes.
having a puff on his cigar for a few minutes, and then walking off.
Exactly.
And maybe that's the same person attached to the footsteps.
Could be.
It's obviously theoretical, but if we can get them to admit that or interact and identify through one of the meters or one of our devices who they are and why they're doing it, maybe we can get an answer as to what, because I did feel, a few different males in this house, and just it's a lot of different energy just kind of wandering around.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of it does belong to you, but not all of it belongs to you guys. So he might not realize that he's just kind of pushing the boundaries a little bit, because I mean, you guys, obviously, you need to sleep with the CPAP, you have the breathing concerns, you don't really need him smoking in the bedroom.
Right. I mean, it's not only the bedroom, but
Yeah.
most of the time that's where it's at. But I mean, we felt it in, or smelled it in the TV room and stuff like that. So.
And that's
I smelled it, a whiff of it.
That's
Oh, we
weird.
did.
Yeah, and I went,
That's strange.
like, that was really strange. I
Yeah.
thought, where did that come from? Just a little quick whiff of it.
Yes.
And I went, they're not smokers. I don't understand what's going on here.
Mhm. Yeah, so I mean, it's just something that they do, but as long as they don't do it in your room when you're trying to sleep and breathe, I think that would be a polite boundary to set. Like, please, like, if you could just maybe go out in the other room and do it, sir. And I think that he'd be fine respecting that boundary, because it's it's good manners. And I when I'm sort of tapping into that particular energy, I keep seeing a man that's about 75 is what he is showing me. And I keep seeing this guy. He's the facial hair. There's something with like he's got a mustache of some kind, and I don't think because he's got like good values and he's sort of a little upper crust ish. It's like he's not but just enough to like. Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to, like he would understand that it was offensive and like, oh my gosh, I'm, my apologies type of thing. If you just engage him in a really polite way, like, oh, I'm sorry, I can't breathe. Is there any way you could go out into the kitchen or whatever,
Right.
Negotiate with him. Because I think that he would be receptive to a negotiation.
Okay.
Good.
That's good to know.
Yeah. Because see, it looks like a graying mustache and sort of salt and pepper hair. And
is he balding any, or?
I'm trying to see him because I'm seeing like a green shirt or something, or green something. I see the color green on him. He's got green, and I just see this part of him, and then the cheeks are a little puffy. Phone.
He's calling.
We call that.
God, if the dead are calling.
It was an 800 number. I don't know.
We call that pulling his act.
I'll turn that off.
So,
Sorry.
it's sort of, it almost has like that, like we're sort of the widow's peak type of thing going on, like that kind of look a little bit, but he's not coming close enough for me.
Is
to
he
fully-
tall?
I can't see him close enough to tell his height because where I'm feeling him, he's standing so far away from me.
Okay.
I can just see those little identifying features on him, and there's like quick little glimmers and little flashes.
Mm-hmm.
He does seem to be kind of strong and in hair, like a little broader, broader in the in that area. And that's about all I can see from him. He's not showing me a lot, so I can't force them. I get whatever I can get out of them, and then I just sort of.
Yeah, I don't know anyone in my past that looks like that either. So.
Yeah, he may be attached to somebody who lived here before. Just comfortable or knows somebody from this area. I mean, it could be just about anything. But maybe he'll tell us his name. Maybe he'll interact more, or maybe
He's hanging out here. He might as well introduce himself. So.
Right?
Yes.
Be
Because I feel like he's been here several times. The same entity or whatever. It's not.
I have felt that since I've lived here.
Okay.
I've smelled that smoke since and then I would paint and I would think, oh, that's good. That smell's going to go away. And
I keep hearing the name Charles.
Charles.
I just keep hearing Charles. But he I've seen it abbreviated chat, how they abbreviate like William Charles, like they abbreviate that like
W.N. for William.
and like the Chas, like they abbreviate like the
Chuck.
yeah, but like he's abbreviating, like he's showing me like almost like beautiful script. He's showing me a handwritten script that's really beautiful. I don't know why. This is weird.
Yes.
Guys, this is interesting.
Some calligraphy going on.
This is fascinating. It's interesting when you tap into them. But you've got a lot of love. So what other things are you experiencing? What other things did we pick up on that seemed to make sense to you?
Well, just the man was basically the first thing, because that's what basically when we lived here for years, and then we moved up to the Susanville, Janesville area. We lived up in the mountains, and we had a home there. My daughter Katie saw when she was very little, so we're talking 5 years old, saw this man. Well, then when we moved here, he came with.
Oh, whoa.
And so this is a man, and then we see, because like where Al has his chair in the family room, I had a chair there for years, and I would walk, and we could see him, and he'd walk in the hall, and he'd walk out the door. I mean, in the evening,
Whoa.
and I never felt threatened by him.
He was just walking his path.
Yeah, it almost seemed like maybe he lived here in this, you know, maybe he had a home here before even, because to me it almost seemed like he was dressed like an Abraham Lincoln.
Oh.
The long black coat. He was very tall,
Wow.
dark, but just kind of a mild mannered, and he just would just walk out.
Yeah, he was literally just following his regular path, sort of oblivious to you guys. So, and that's fine. I mean, residual haunts are not that big of a deal, because he's just repeating a track that is familiar, and it is a memory. It's a record player memory. His soul probably isn't even present here. It's just literally stuck on reboot. You know, he keeps doing over and over and over. And yeah, you know, that's not going to hurt you any. It's a little weird, a little unnerving sometimes.
Yeah.
But honestly, it's not a big deal.
The worst was the hall, though. That's where we had problems with my daughter. And I remember one evening, I was so afraid, I took out a rosary, and I was playing the Our Father right in front of her door, and the lights all went out in the hall.
Oh, boy.
So that's
a little startling.
that was really startling.
And how old was she during that time?
Early teenage.
Yep.
Yeah.
So that's
So everything was drawn to her at that time.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, and then she experienced, you know, like lights flickering and things like that. You know, like the fan would go off, and I had a lot of activity too in my walk-in closet. There was like one time the light just exploded. One time she went to turn the light on, and then for a while it didn't work. And so, and then what I'm saying is the wires were completely off, and it went on anyway.
Oh, boy.
And then the light completely exploded. And then also when she was up there, the bulb, the decorative bulb on the globe, it just flew across and shattered against the wall.
So when I was about 10, I had a light fixture on my ceiling. And I was playing with a very soft stuffed toy, and I was throwing it around. Nothing on it would have damaged anything. It was just a squishy, soft toy I was throwing it about. And it was on Halloween, no less. I was dressed as Cleopatra that year, and the entire overhead fixture shattered. And I actually got 2 shards in my leg.
Wow.
And it, so I went trick-or-treating anyway. I wrapped it up real good. To hell that I was not going to get my candy that year.
Sure.
But as you hit closer to puberty, that kind of thing, and psychokinetic ability, if you're a really like totally ungrounded, sensitive, and you just, whatever's going on, you can impact your own environment. And she may have inadvertently been impacting her environment with the lights flickering, the bursting of things. That can happen with people with, psychokinetic or telekinetic and other, those type of abilities can lend themselves to that type of phenomena. So not all of it necessarily may have been coming from a dead person, while a slightly less positive energy may have been attracted to the space or to her because of her blooming abilities. Some of the phenomena might have been because she was stressed out from some of those entities or activity. And then that happened because she was so freaked out about it that just poof, her energy hit the space.
You want your own energy out there.
Yeah, and when you're younger and you're a teen, you're hitting puberty, all this stuff is going on, hormones, all that, it's really, really hectic energetically and emotionally. Yeah, it's drama 24/7. And then you're also a sensitive and you're seeing or feeling things. And then a negative energy is drawn to you because, you're a beautiful lighthouse. Of course, it's going to be stressful. and it's going to cause a
This
reaction.
is how lights explode.
Yeah, it is.
Really
It's a
is.
perfect recipe for that type of phenomenon. So it wouldn't surprise me if that's kind of it's not just, it doesn't have to be just one thing. It doesn't have to be, a dark energy came into the house.
Okay.
It doesn't have to be just her energy exploded something, but little tidbits of everything basically created the perfect storm. And that can still happen for her. It doesn't, I still flicker lights on occasion. Like I was telling you, I still have that issue on occasion. When I'm not particularly grounded, I'm having a bad day or a bad week, and I will affect my environment. And I have to check in with myself and go, I need to ground. I need to pay attention. How am I feeling? What's going on? What am I upset about? What can I do about this? Are these things that I can fix or not fixed? What do I need? What problems don't even have anything to do with me? Whose problems am I taking on as my own? I don't need to take those on. And then just learning to ground and meditate and pray and just push it all out and just have that calm divine connection and clear myself, maybe smudge myself, and then things just go back down to baseline. So it's being cognizant of when it starts to get amped up and just checking in with yourself and being realistic about, part of this is me. Part of it is that stupid entity that I need to chase out, but let me smudge myself first and then let me smudge the rest of the stuff. It's all about being just very honest with yourself. So,
Do you want to tell them about the glass?
Yeah,
what
Katie
else
and
has
I-
been going on?
Well, the one thing I want to validate too that you said
Please,
is
yes.
basically, especially with her being so young, it's like there were times when, of course, when it was heavier, just like you said, it comes and goes. I would feel it. I wouldn't say anything to her. Then she'd go, "Mom, it's back." And then we would validate each other. But then one night we were sitting here talking about what was going on. And all of a sudden, we were in the kitchen. We were in here. We hear in the kitchen this like a glass cutter. I had these wine goblets, and the tops were quite big. They were about this big around. The whole top had etched. It cut itself, completely cut. And I could pick that top half an inch of that glass all by itself.
That's very strange.
Yeah,
Yes.
Cool, but creepy.
Yeah.
And that's the thing, is that because you have yourself and you have a daughter that's gifted, paranormal activity is just kind of it's kind of part of your life. But it doesn't have to dominate your life.
And that's finally where we're at, and that's really nice.
Yeah.
Now
I just need a little bit of a leg up and some extra validation and some extra tools and knowledge, so you can really manage this the rest of the way.
Right.
That just getting you across the finish line. So, let you know, you guys sure as heck aren't imagining it. There's real stuff going on, and and what can you do about it? And we want to empower you to know you can do some stuff about it. What other things did we and obviously we picked up on a few different energies. Were there any of the souls that made any sense to you, that felt like anybody, or that just kind of wandering around your house?
I think that we've zeroed in on the guy that I believe kind of lived in the area,
Yes.
and then the guy that came down with us, and then also I think my father. I think even that chair, when you were drawn to that, and even the other thing is my father passed after I. No, he didn't. I moved in this house. I wonder if it's my father. Because of what you talked about, and the way that sounds like my dad, the receding hairline, the smoker. He died of that, and you know what? I wonder if that's who. Because I have learned in the last few years to really start asking for spiritual help from my dead relatives.
Well, yeah.
They're here trying to help you.
And they're here.
They're really here.
Asking for them, of course they're going to show up. They love you.
And we were very close.
Okay.
My dad and I.
Oh, good.
But you smoke cigars a lot, huh?
Cigars and cigarettes.
Okay.
Yeah, both.
So maybe Dad's just hanging out. Well, just tell Dad to calm down.
Yeah.
Because that's literally what I was seeing, is this man, and he's just like, he seemed like a really respectful guy. Like he would respect you,
Yes.
you know, if you just tell him what you need.
Dad, go outside and smoke. That's what
Yes,
Exactly.
just have a conversation with him.
Yeah.
Okay, well that makes
Yeah.
sense. That makes a lot of sense.
And it seems like we felt more male energy here than
Yes.
female.
Yeah.
So I'm interested that you picked up on.
Yeah, I don't know who that gal is. I mean, she could have been attached to somebody who lived here before.
But you said
Who
she was an
knows?
older woman.
She seemed a little bit older, but she really didn't give me a full clear view of her.
Okay.
I got a mature vibe from her.
Mm-hmm.
So I would say, you know, maybe 70-ish, give or take, but she really wouldn't draw close enough for me to get a real distinct vibe on her.
Okay.
She was just kind of like, oh, let me just go do this. And, you know, she was like just tinkering. I'm like, all right, well, let her go do her thing. Like she wasn't really interested in me. So again, that could just be a sense memory from somebody who lived here before, years ago, or was related to somebody from years ago. Maybe she'll present more to me and I can share more with you if she gives me more. But it was really the one, that one male that was the most like that literally he has been following me around this whole time.
Yes.
Take me to the chair, take me, all these things. Like he is like taking me on a tour. And like he's the one that wanted to engage with me the most. So that would make sense if you've been asking your relatives to help you. That would actually make a phenomenal amount of sense.
It does. It really does.
Yeah, that connects. And see, this is why I always tell people it is like playing connect the dots with the dead sometimes, because I'll get little glimmers from them, but it takes really talking it out and saying, okay, this is what I saw, this is what I felt, and then we make those connections. You're like, wait a minute, this is, you know, this makes sense to me, and this is what I feel. So, yeah.
Can I ask you a question?
Yeah, of
Okay,
course.
Susan has 2 daughters,
Mhm.
and we talked about the one
Mhm.
being more in tune, if you want to call it that. But what about her other daughter? Would she feel the same level of?
They don't have to. It varies in families. Like some people get more of the gift, some people get less, some people are in denial about it and close it off. It does run in families, but not everyone is profoundly in tune to it. They're just not.
Okay.
Their spiritual antenna, you know, isn't exactly pointed in the same way. They might have some experiences, especially if it's
And
really
she has.
if it's really blatant, like in your face stuff. And I just saw somebody walk by.
Oh, no.
Here that surprised me. That shock was like, whoa.
Wow.
I was even caught off guard on that one. I didn't expect to see that. That was cute. So, yeah, and if your other daughter, you said she's seen some things, but she doesn't really engage or have as many experiences, she'd be either one, be in just complete denial, not want to deal, like, no, I don't want to deal with that, and pushing it away, or her spiritual gifts are something else.
They are.
She just has some other ability that's not that. And that is sort of how it sometimes divvies up in families. Like somebody will feel, somebody will see, somebody will, you know, some people get a hold of the crap all in one person, you know. So, you know, everyone's got their own little lane sometimes. It's why, you know, we form a group because, you know, everyone has their own sort of thing to bring to the table. That beautiful and special family connection, but it's also something that can very easily be mitigated as well, just simply by, you know, being very well grounded and knowing, there's even a more complex thing about, it's called cord cutting, and it's, you know, it's not severing the relationship, it's not changing the dynamic, basically saying your energy stays in your bubble, my energy stays in my bubble. It's, you know, just keeping healthy boundaries. Basically, the only time you should have a cord attached to someone is if they're children under the age of 18, you know, as to where you need to sort of guide and feel and tether. And then once they're of age, they can have their own energetic, you know, malarkey going on. You don't need to be corded to everybody. You can be in relationship. You can have the energetic soul web connection together with people you love, you know, spouses, family members, that kind of thing. But y'all don't have to be energetically plugged into where you're sharing energetic space, because then that's not actually healthy.
Right.
You know, that goes back to the grounding exercises, and part of grounding is, you know, imagining everything just sort of flushing out and going into back to the earth, and then having your bubble placed around you. You will then be in your own sort of sphere, and you don't have to have a lot of, you know, things tendriling into you. It's just not good. It's not how you want it. So boundaries with the dead and with the living.
Yep. That's right.
Yeah.
So I guess basically as we walk through the space, some of the things really seem to then pretty much make sense to you as far.
Absolutely. We validated a lot of things that we felt for 22 years now, so thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Good.
That's awesome.
Good.
I've been having the experiences,
Yeah.
for sure, and I'm glad that we could give you that validation, and we have more validation to
Oh, absolutely.
do. I mean, because some of these weird little hot spots need to be checked out. You know,
Yeah, I'm interested.
especially like the hallway with that residual energy, or, you know, or possibly just whoever's walking through. Maybe one of the meters can register that, and we can actually get some sort of scientific proof of what they're doing and why they're doing it, or maybe they'll play with the meters because they want to interact with us and they want to have fun. You know, they might, they may enjoy. Yeah, sometimes they do, sometimes they don't. You know, it depends what they want. Because we don't you know, tell them, oh, you must touch the meter. You know, it's
I'm
like,
not the boss of them.
yeah, it's like I'm only the boss of the negative ones that need to get the hell out of your house. You know, that type of thing. Those are the ones I'm the boss of. The nice, friendly ones, I just want to have a nice chat with them. And just have a, you know, just like we're sitting down and having a little, you know, quality time. And if you want to interact, you can interact. You know, it should be a positive and good experience for them and for us. But we want you just feeling like you can really stay in control of your home, because it's a, like I said, it's a beautiful home. I like it, and it feels great here. And so, you know, we just want to make you happy. And as you mentioned, your daughter apparently is a fan. So
Very much so.
we want
Big fan.
we want to make her proud too.
Well, for sure.
So when she gets to see this video eventually, she can, you know, say, all right, that turned out good. You know, want to make her happy.
Yeah.
So.
Okay.
Yeah, she's called me a couple times today. So
Oh,
she's very excited.
that's so sweet. How did she and or how did you guys hear about us? Did you find us organically?
I think, we finally gotten to the point where I wanted to do something. I wanted to get some answers. And so we just looked up, after watching all the shows that we had for a long time,
Yeah.
you know, we just thought there's got to be someone here local.
Yeah.
And so then
Here we are.
Here we are.
Yeah. So, well,
very
thank you.
grateful.
Thank you
That's awesome.
for
You're grateful
finding
you
us.
trusted us. Yeah.
Very much so. It's a pleasure.
Yeah, it's a privilege and an honor to be able to bring light and healing to people, because it is a big responsibility, you know, to be this sort of facilitator of this energy. It's a
Absolutely.
huge responsibility, and something that we don't take lightly. You know, we want it to be good for you guys. We want it to be perfect for you guys. So you can just, you know, love your space as much as you should. And, you know, and, you know, obviously we learn a lot from all those shows as far as equipment, what things work, what things don't work. My mentor is on one of those shows. So, you know, we gain a lot from those programs, but we also just want to, like, it's not as wild and crazy as you see on TV either. It's like we're just kind of relaxed most of the time, you know, unless things start really going interesting on some of the devices. But, you know, for the most part, it's a pretty good validating experience.
Most of the time it is for you.
Yeah. We've gone into some gnarly cases. Don't get me wrong. We've gone into some bad places, but
Do other places are like this? Do you ever feel like it travels with you back once you leave an area?
We don't allow that.
We don't allow that.
yeah, no, I'm extremely anal retentive with my protocol.
Okay.
Yeah, my cleansing, my clearing, my grounding, my aura protection. I have a whole bunch of rocks and crystals in my pockets right now. I've got my little guardian angel coins. I've got a lot of things. And before I come to a place, I do my whole grounding routine. So that is a possibility for people that, you know, depending on where you go. I mean, any place and any investigator, it can happen to. But if you put all the right procedures in place, it is far less likely for you to get some sort of, you know, attachment or issue. And if for some, you know, knock on wood, God forbid, something energetically happened, we also know how to clear it pretty quickly. I have ways of taking care of that. Only a couple of times have we experienced what I call bounce back energy. It wasn't actually an entity, but it was energy from a case where there was a curse involved on a family. And part of the ritual was that anybody that came in to remove it would get a little bit of a firework blowback kind of thing happen to them. And I felt a severe anxiety attack upon getting home, and I realized very quickly what was happening, and pop and go. And it's like, well, I'm mailing that energy back. I don't think it went very well for them. It's
Yeah,
not
right.
suggested that, that people do that. Because and the family that were helping me were such a nice family. They did not deserve the crud that was put on them in the first place. So, and that's also a thing about karma. If it's if it's not deserved, it's not some sort of thing, and you're just sending, caca at somebody that hasn't done anything to deserve any of that, you will get it back 10, 15, 20 times, right in your face. So we have had that happen before, but for the most part, I'm like, no, I don't think so. Some entities have been cute and tried to act like they're gonna try to come home with us, and then they come up to the car and they're like, and they walk off, and they're just like, never mind, because I actually have blessed his vehicle too. So his car is actually protected and anointed with altar dirt from New Mexico. So things aren't coming home with that.
And I've never had such a problem-free car. The best car I've ever had in my life.
Hey, a little holy water, a little blessed altar dirt,
Look
your car's okay.
Yeah.
He's also very good with his maintenance. But as far as spiritual interference, we've got to protect it from that.
But that's like the paranormal too. You've got to do your due diligence.
True.
And you protect, do the protection, and then the positivity will follow.
Yeah.
Right.
But whatever you put out, whatever you put out is what is returned. So, even with the really gnarly entities, I don't provoke. I don't get aggressive.
Yeah.
I don't even get angry or fearful. It's assertive, almost like a parent type of energy. You have to be assertive. I've raised my voice at them, so I like, sorry, you're not doing this anymore. This is not acceptable.
Mm-hmm.
You do have to be very assertive with that type of entity or energy. And so I found that approach is far more effective than hooping and hollering and screaming and getting all. That is food. That's raw food for those type of entities. They want you to be fearful or angry.
I did kind of do that a few times with them. And then my other daughter, who isn't really, she doesn't feel as much as Katie, that's what she said, that she was house sitting for us. And she felt this heaviness, and she screamed out, but then she left. So I don't but
honestly, just being assertive and direct, that has much.
Set your boundaries with them.
Yeah,
Exactly.
Right.
that is a much better way to approach it. It's a much more successful and advantageous approach. So, do you have anything else that you guys want to add to your experiences? Or does that kind of cover the fun? Okay. Seems like you guys have had a lot going on over the years. Like I said, it ebbs and flows, but we just want to keep it going in the right direction. Obviously, we are investigating. We are going to be directly engaging with energy, but I'm also going to heavily bless your space. We're not paranormal monitors. We will simmer it back down and then give you the tools for and information for proper maintenance, because you're definitely going to have to. You guys are sensitive, and like you said, you're going to be doing some renovation soon. You're really going to have to do maintenance. and I think that will be fine. It will be easy. It won't be a challenge. It'll just, it'll become second nature.
Why does the renovation then stir up the energies?
So it's changing things in their environment. It's moving things around. It's shifting energy. It's changing the shape and dynamic of a space. It attracts them. It interests them. Some of them are excited to see it. Some of them don't like the changes. I mean, it depends on their reaction and how they feel about it. So some of them just get really excited, like, ooh, this is pretty, this is cool, I like this. And other ones like, no, it's not the way I remember it. It can be a variety of reasons why they get a little weirded out by it, but it...
That's good to know.
Yeah, but it seems to happen a lot for people with renovation.
Okay.
Most likely you'll have spirits that want to help you and be like your, familial spirits, and all the friendly ones that are hanging out, whether they're ancestors or whoever they fit in the tree somewhere, they kind of want to help out. Just be aware that it's a possibility, and that you do want to stay on top of that. Well, I think we could break out some meters.
Yeah.
Set them up in a couple different areas, take some readings, maybe do a little meter sweep throughout the house, just to see if there's anything that stands out to us that would be significant, and why they might like certain areas of the house. Is there something in that particular area that's extra tasty to them energetically, so they're taking food from something in the house, because obviously, EMF is food to them, and they also leave EMF signatures in the space. So we'll have to take some readings and narrow that down for you guys.
It's time for science.
It sure is. Science class.
Okay.
Let's get her done.